There are 5 predictions that you need to be aware of for 2025 and beyond, and that's what I want to talk about today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world reach the third stage of digital transformation success. And every year I love to do these predictions. I love to get out my crystal ball and pretend I can read the future and predict what I think will happen in the digital transformation and ERP software space. And every year I get some of them right and some of them wrong. And this year I want to talk about the 5 things that I think are most important for you to be aware of as you embark on your digital transformation. And if you'd like to learn more about trends that we foresee in the industry, as well as industry best practices and other metrics that will help you through your digital transformation in 2025, I encourage you to download our 2025 Digital Transformation Report. It's an annual report we publish each year that contains a number of independent reviews and rankings of different technology providers, as well as implementation best practices and other research that will help you through your digital transformation. So we as an industry and even as consumers have been talking about artificial intelligence for a couple of years now, ever since ChatGPT really crashed onto the scene and received consumer adoption and mainstream adoption. People have been talking a lot about AI. Software vendors have been investing heavily in AI within their technology capabilities, and AI upstarts and startups have done very well for themselves. Companies like NVIDIA, for example, have become very successful as AI providers. But the question is, at what point does AI become real for the average mainstream organization? A lot of us are at home using ChatGPT on a limited basis, but organizations largely have not yet fully adopted artificial intelligence. And just like most emerging technologies, organizations are typically a little slower to adopt these new technologies. But I think this is the year in 2025 where we're going to see organizations start to catch up to the capabilities of AI. They're going to start to test and pilot different use cases for how AI can improve their operations. And as they start to see some early wins, you'll start to see AI build a lot of momentum within organizations that realize the power of AI. And I'm not just talking about AI capabilities that ERP software vendors and others are providing within their existing technologies. I'm talking about even standalone artificial intelligence applications and uses. We're starting to see some cases where AI is being used to automate very redundant tasks. It's being used in really simple use cases. But I think 2025 is where we're going to start to see companies get more advanced and more sophisticated and more bold in their ability to try out and test ways that AI might improve their operations. Now, I've actually put together an entire course around artificial intelligence. If you'd like to learn more about it, click this link right here. It's an hour and a half or so course on artificial intelligence, and you can learn more about how AI is impacting organizations by watching that video. Another trend we see materializing in the ERP software and digital transformation space is the rise of software platforms. Historically, when we talk about ERP software or any sort of enterprise technology, we're typically talking about applications. We're talking about a specific solution that has pre-configured, off-the-shelf, out-of-the-box capabilities, and we configure those solutions for our needs in our business, and we may have to customize part of those solutions as well. However, applications will continue to be important. But I think what will happen now is you will start to see software platforms emerge as a good alternative to the traditional off-the-shelf software application. So just to clarify, software platforms are different from applications. Applications are pre-configured, they're off-the-shelf, they have predefined ways that they work, whereas a platform provides a way for organizations to look for third-party applications or build their own applications on a proven platform without having to create their own custom solution from scratch. Some examples of software platforms would be on the ERP solution side. You have companies like Salesforce, you have companies like Microsoft Dynamics that have created an entire ecosystem that third-party developers can use to build alternate solutions on that common platform. So you're sort of getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the benefit of an application, but you're also getting the benefit of a platform in that it gives you a little bit more flexibility to create your own applications or find other third-party applications that fill unique needs that you might have as an organization. Now, there's also standalone platform organizations. So there's companies such as Rapid is an emerging technology provider. It's actually founded by Jan Baan, who's the founder of Baan Software, which is one of the early pioneers of ERP software. And this tool, Rapid, is sort of a low-code, no-code development platform that you can use to create your own applications. Third-party developers can create their own applications on it and sell it to others. So there's other alternatives to just the core ERP systems or the traditional ERP systems. You can also look at third-party development platforms that can give you some of the benefit of having some proven technology, but also giving you the flexibility to create exactly what it is you need as an organization. Cybersecurity has been top of mind for a lot of CIOs and CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers, for a number of years now. But cybersecurity is finally reaching the boardroom. Executives and non-IT people are finally recognizing that cybersecurity is a big deal and it's something that needs to be taken seriously, and it involves an asset that needs to be protected. And the asset in question here is your company's data, your company's intellectual property, and other information that's important to the organization. So I think in 2025, what you're going to see is organizations start to recognize how important cybersecurity is, not just in terms of ensuring that systems don't get hacked, but also that internal controls are in place to ensure that employees aren't making mistakes unintentionally that can lead to cybersecurity breaches. Just shortly before filming this video, an example of a cybersecurity breach that was more internally focused was Macy's Corporation, which is a retail organization in the United States. They had lost over $100 million, or identified over $100 million of losses that resulted from lack of internal controls, and it led to accrual and accounting issues that caused them to have to write off a bunch of money. So this is just one example of the consequences and the price tag associated with lack of cybersecurity and lack of focus on having controls and processes and technologies in place. And for that reason, organizations in the boardrooms and the executives in particular are going to recognize and start to take cybersecurity a lot more seriously in 2025. One prediction we have for 2025, which was a prediction we also had for 2024, is that there is going to be an increase in digital transformation and ERP implementation failures. And failure rates have always been uncomfortably high for organizations. They've always been 80% or more according to most research, but that number is likely to continue increasing for a couple of different reasons. One is technology is becoming more advanced and technology is moving faster and faster than any organization can possibly change. That alone creates a high risk of failure for organizations. But perhaps even more importantly is a lot of software vendors are sunsetting out their old legacy on-premise products and basically forcing customers to upgrade to a cloud-based solution. Now, on the surface, this may not be a terrible thing, although you could argue the ethics behind it are terrible, and I would make that argument. But in purposes of why digital transformations are failing as a result is because you're forcing a lot of organizations to change their systems, whether it's right for them or not, and whether the timing is right for them or not. In other words, organizations are being forced to act upon software vendors' timelines rather than their own individual needs and priorities. And so for that reason, you're getting a lot of organizations that aren't ready, shouldn't be going through a digital transformation, but they're doing it because they have to, because the software vendor is forcing them to. Another dimension to look at is because so many software vendors have just 2 or 3 years left before they're going to sunset out their old products, you're getting a situation where resources on the technical side are getting spread very thin. So there's limited resources, but a spike in demand for all these organizations that are going through digital transformations, and that is likely to lead to failure as well. So when you take a look at some of these other trends in the marketplace that are happening and accelerating, that is going to lead a lot of organizations to fail, and in fact, it will likely increase the failure rate of digital transformation and ERP projects, especially if those projects are not managed effectively. Now, I've covered the 5 biggest trends and predictions I see for 2025, but there's a number of other ones that are worth mentioning as sort of honorable mentions. If I were doing a top 10 list, I would definitely include these things, but since I only did 5, I'll kind of rush through a few of these additional ones. One is the importance of change management. Change management has always been important, but I think change management is even more important in 2025 and beyond because of some of the other things I mentioned earlier in this video around how technology is changing so much faster than the ability for organizations to change. And that chasm between technology capabilities and where organizations are today is just continuing to grow, and that's putting more pressure on organizational change management. Vendor lock-in is a trend that I don't know will fully materialize in 2025, but it's worth putting out there on the radar because I think in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe closer to 2030, you're going to see this whole vendor lock-in thing backfire on the vendor community. And what vendor lock-in is a situation where an organization has essentially all their eggs in one basket, all of their technology spend is with one primary provider, and if and when the time comes to change providers, especially in a cloud-based solution, the switching costs and the pain behind switching from that solution is so great that it's going to wreak a lot of havoc on the organization and the people behind it. If you'd like to learn more about vendor lock-in, by the way, I did a whole video you can find right here on YouTube. I also think in 2025, you're going to see the rise in the emergence of industry-specific solutions. They've been around for a long time, but I think more and more organizations are clamoring for something more tailored for their needs. Rather than trying to find a one-size-fits-all generic ERP solution, they're trying to find solutions that are more tailored for them, even if it means going with a smaller, slightly less robust system, but one that's more suited for their needs. And then finally, artificial intelligence has really overshadowed all other emerging technologies in 2025, but there are other emerging technologies to be aware of. There's still Internet of Things and predictive analytics, robotics, and other things that are going to even further enable artificial intelligence. And it's worth noting that there's other emerging technologies out there, even though we tend to talk about AI as the premier emerging technology. So these are just a few honorable mentions of additional trends to be aware of and things you might want to consider as you define your digital strategy and roadmap for 2025 and beyond. So I hope you found this information useful, and I hope that you'll download our 2025 Digital Transformation Report. This is another resource I highly encourage you to check out because it provides a number of other trends that you should be aware of as you go through your digital transformation. It also provides a number of industry software reviews and rankings from an independent tech agnostic perspective. It provides a number of best practices to make your implementation more successful. So check that out by scanning the QR code right here, or you can go to the links below. So I hope you found this information useful and hope you have a great day.